Good evening, Ruth. Hello, Ruth.
Good evening.
Okay, hope you are all doing well. So, apologies for yesterday. We were not able to have the class because I had power outage here. So, but I sent the notes on WhatsApp. Hope you accessed them and you went through
Yes, we
them.
did. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, apologies for that. So,
Uh,
we we have uh, we have a new student, that is Keegan. Yes, Keegan.
uh, okay, where are the notes?
Okay, okay. I'll share with you because I remember I shared the notes yesterday and you were added in the group today, so that's why you can't see them. So, but
Okay. Oh,
I'll share the notes with you, and also I have the class recording for the class that we had, the first class that we had. I'll also share with you, and also I'll share with Ruth and also with Wangui also, so that you can follow along and catch up to where we are right now. So just a brief introduction about me, Keegan, since you were not there when we started. So I'm Fred Mirimo. So I work here at African Center for Data Analytics as a trainer. And also I work at a call center also as a data analyst. So in this course, we are going to learn three tools that are actually very crucial in data analytics. So you will get to learn about Excel, you'll get to learn about SQL and also Power BI. Yeah, we do understand that there are other software tools that are being used in data analytics, but we just unpick these three so that we can see how you can utilize them in analyzing your data. So that's all about me. So maybe we can get to know about you and your background, uh, this field you are specializing in, and so on. Yes, Keegan.
I'm Keegan. As you can see, I'm Keegan, and I'm currently uh, I'm currently a student at Karatina doing computer science.
Okay, you have passion in data. You have
Thank
passion
you.
in data.
Ah, sijakusikia. Pardon.
Okay, you are passionate in data analytics, yeah?
Yeah, very passionate.
Okay, okay. So welcome on board, Keegan. So
Uh,
you will just catch up from where we left. I'll share with you the notes, and also I'll share the video recordings uh, of the previous class that we had. So previously, we had introduced the course about data analytics. We were just still at the introduction, so nothing much that we've done. So we were just introducing the course and we are not yet done. So we are still at the introduction. So Ruth, the other time we had a class, we stopped at data quality assessment, and we discussed about the metrics that we need to observe so that we can ensure that our data is of good quality. So we say that you must ensure that the data that you are handling is actually accurate, it's timely, it's complete, and so on. We discussed all those metrics. So today we are going to discuss about data management. So as a data analyst, having knowledge on data management is actually crucial. So you need to know how to manage your data so that you can utilize it efficiently. So allow me to just share my screen so that we can have a discussion about what really data management entails, and then we will go further and introduce the course if we'll have the time. That is Excel. So just a minute. So confirm from your end if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can. You just need to make it a bit bigger.
How about that?
Yeah, much better.
Let me zoom it. So I hope the term data management it's not new to you. Probably you've heard about it somewhere or in any organization that you are working. If, for example, you are a corporate, you probably have come across the term data management. So I'll just uh, describe data management as the routine procedure in which data is being collected, being stored, the way that data is being protected and processed so that it can be optimized in making important business decisions. So in today's organizations, we have massive amount of data that is coming in, probably due to information technology and Internet of Things. So there is massive amount of data that is being collected in real time. So there is actually need for organization to come up with data management policies or practices that can enable them to enhance or make use of the data that they are having. So you can think of data as an asset, yeah, just the way you have your asset, the way you protect it. So data is an asset to any organization. It's an asset because majority of the organization rely on it in making important business decisions. So gone are those days that management or managers used to make business decisions based on their opinion or just by intuition. But nowadays, they actually make this business decision basing their facts on data. So data is an asset to them. So there is need to come up with efficient ways of ensuring that the data that the organization do have is actually used optimally in making important business decisions. So given that this data that we are collecting is actually massive and is everywhere, so organizations need to come up with data management policies that guide them on how that data is being collected, that data is being stored, and also protected. So with Internet of Things and development in information technology, a lot of data is being collected. And also with these developments come also the issue of security. Probably you've heard about things to do with cyber security. So it's with these developments in technology, so organizations need to come up with ways in which they can ensure that their data is secure. So that is what actually data management entails. So coming up with these policies, it will actually enable organization to streamline their processes, and also it will enable them to improve their operational efficiencies. So there is actually need for organization to be very keen in coming up with data management practices or policies. So that is, in a nutshell, that is what modern data management is. Unless maybe if you need more clarity on what data management entails. So Keegan,
Yeah.
yeah, so we were talking about modern data management as a skill that a data analyst should have. So in any case, if you are employed as a data analyst, you might find yourself in a situation whereby you have to leverage, or you have to come up with policies that will enable you to actually make good use of the data that you have in your organization. So you might be prompted to come up with ways in which you can collect that data, the way you can store that data, and the way you can protect that data, and also the way you can process it. So you should have actually good knowledge in this, because it will enable you to keep to be in line with also the government policies that are in place that need organization to have data protection policies and so on. So just let me pose a question to you. So what do you think as a data analyst in an organization, what things can you do in order to ensure that the data in your organization is actually put into good use, and also how the data protection policies can be implemented in your organization? Ruth, do you
Please
have
come again.
So,
Please come again.
okay, so as a data analyst in
Mhm.
your company, what are some of the data management practices that you can implement in your company to make sure that the data that you do have is put into good use?
I would say borrowing from the explanation that you've given about data management. First of all, I think we'll define how we need to collect this data, what platforms we use, and how we store it, and exactly who is going to access this data. So we're going to restrict the data. And also, I think we're going to do we call it a data, I think, data test to find out if the data, to clean up the data, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, good attempt. So, what about Keegan?
I will first try to validate the data and try to store it in a safe and an easily accessible manner to anyone that would require it. Yeah. Something like that.
Okay, that's a good attempt, Keegan. So this pushes us to the next slide, whereby we need to see the characteristics of modern data management. So one characteristic of modern data management, you must make sure that the data that you are collecting is user-centric. So when you are a data analyst, so the data that your company does have, it should be user-centric. So that implies that that you should be able to get value from that data. So you don't just collect data for its sake alone. So okay, let me admit someone. Okay, welcome. So we have already started. So I hope we will catch up because the class is being recorded. So we've said one characteristic of modern data management is that the data must be user-centric. So the data strategy should reflect organizational objectives. So, and be led not by the IT department, but by business users themselves. So you must make sure that the data that is in your database is actually the data that reflect how your customer are interacting with your product, so that you can be able to make good use of this data. So you must make sure that the data that you are collecting is user centric. So another characteristic is that you must make sure that your data is secure. So as I had said earlier, due to advancement in technology, so there is also risk of cyber security also. People can get access of your data. and they can take that data and use it maybe against you. For example, if you have competitors in the market, so they can get access to this data, and unfortunately you can be locked out of the market due to competition. So you must make sure that the data that you do have is secure. So one way of doing that is making sure that your data is password protected, no one has access to your servers, and if there are parties that do have rights to access the data in the servers, there should be authentication processes that need to be followed before that data is accessed. So with that, you can make sure that the data that you are having is secure. So another characteristic, you must make sure that your data management your data management policies are cost optimized. So this comes to maybe developing new systems that enable you to collect the data. So you must make sure that the techniques that you are using are cost efficient, so that you can be able to reduce costs and also maximize the business value. So, and with this, you will be able to increase operational efficiencies by cutting down on cost. So your data also should be centralized. So by centralized here, I mean you should only have one depot where you can access this data. So you can have a database where data from different sources is being harnessed. So you should not have separate silos in which you store your data, but instead you should come up with a connected system. For example, a data warehouse in which this data is stored centrally, so that it can be easily be accessed by the people or the parties who need it the most. So by making sure that your data management practices is centralized, it will make sure that you avoid the issue of duplication in your of your data in the database, and also it will make accessibility of that data to be more efficient. So when you are implementing modern data management, just make sure that it is centralized. So another thing is this issue of cloud first. So usually nowadays organizations have resorted to storing their data on the cloud. So storing data in the cloud give you the advantage of accessing it regardless of where you are. So nowadays organizations are shifting from traditional ways of storing their data, and they are now transitioning to storing their data on the cloud. So as a data analyst in an organization, if your company has not actually implemented this, you can take a step further in trying to implement it. Nowadays, companies have resorted to storing their data on the cloud because it's cost efficient. So cloud is actually you can outsource this service from cloud, whereby you can store your data there and you can access it regardless of where where you are. So those are the 6 characteristics of modern data management. But the list is that is not exhaustive. I mean, so there are other characteristics that are needed in today's modern data management. So up to there, those are the characteristics of data management, and also we've talked about what modern data management actually entails. So that brings us to the end of that topic on modern data management. So unless there is any question from your end before we can move to something else. Any question?
Clear for me.
Okay. Thank you. Hope the rest also you are okay. So let me allow me to delve in what we were discussing previously to lay emphasis. We were talking the other time. We were talking about data engineer versus data analyst versus data scientist. So I just picked it up because I saw it was not coming out clear to you, so that we can actually make clear distinction of these 3 professions and how they interact maybe in an organization. So I'm taking a case scenario here. I have a company called Wonder Waters. So this company specializes in collecting water, storing it, and processing it, and also distributing it to customers. So what this company does, it does water collection, it stores it, it does water filtration, it deals with water products, and also distributing distributing the water. So we have here 3 professionals. We have Dan, we have Liz, and also we have Tom. So Dan here is working as a data engineer. Liz is working as a data analyst, and Tom here is working as a data scientist. So we're assuming these employees, they work in the same organization, but probably maybe they are in different departments. So here Dan, who is a data engineer, so is responsible for setting up the connection. So most probably Dan here, his work maybe is to come up with a database that will enable the company to collect data from maybe the customers or from the people who are using the company product. In this case is water. So he will be responsible for setting up connection, building up water pipelines, maintaining raw water quality, and storing it. So Dan will come up with a system in data science, we call it a data warehouse, in which it will enable the company collect data uh, from the customers who are using the product. So Liz here, on the other hand, who is a data analyst, so her work majorly involves water analysis, quality. He tests the pH of the water, etc. So also he recommends new water products to the management so that the management can know which water products are selling the most, which one are selling the least. So he is also responsible for identifying current demands of water products, and also is responsible in enabling business to build the market strategy. So you can now see a clear-cut distinction between the roles of Dan and Liz. So the work of Dan is actually to come up with that infrastructure. And this infrastructure will enable Dan to collect information or collect data on water usage from customers. On the other hand, here, Liz now is capable of accessing the data from the warehouse or from the database, and this database has been actually built by Dan, who is a data engineer. So our work majorly revolves in now seeing the trend in consumption of water, and also coming up with business intelligence regarding the demand of water products and so on. So you can see the clear-cut distinction between Dan, who is a data engineer, and Liz, who is a data analyst. Tom, on the other side, is a data scientist. So Tom assists the business from a different perspective. Yes, I think one role of Tom is to come up with statistical model that will enable the company maybe to predict potential health benefits of consuming water's packaged drinking water. So majorly the work of Dan will revolve around coming up with statistical model that will actually enable the company to make a future business decision. So one role of Tom maybe could be maybe he could collect data from the past 10 years on how customers have been consuming Wonder water products, and from that he could maybe gather information on health benefits of consuming the company's water, and from that he can come up with a model that can enable the company to predict the potential health benefit of drinking Wonder Water's product. So those are the distinctions between these three professionals. That is Dan, who is a data engineer, Liz, who is a data analyst, and Tom, also who is a data scientist. So with this regard, Tom actually sees the business from a different angle. So he's visionary in nature. He's responsible for coming up with models that maybe can predict maybe companies' growth maybe in the next 5 years and so on. But here, Liz is her work I can say is day-to-day operation of the company. So the top management of the company maybe will rely on this, maybe to come up with insights or business intelligence that will enable the company to make important business decision at that moment. But Tom, this is about you will just come up with a model that will enable the company maybe make future business decisions. So I think I think has shedded some light about these three professionals and regarding their roles and what they do in a company. So maybe if there is any question or maybe any comment regarding that, the three professions, data engineer, data analyst, and the data scientist. Winnie, or do you have any, or Wangui? Ruth, is the distinction between these three professionals clear to you?
Yes, well understood.
Yeah. What about Kigan?
Yes, I've understood.
Yeah. So from on a general perspective, so you should understand that from what I've just discussed, I've just given a case scenario of underwater company, but on a general perspective, what does a data engineer, data analyst, and data engineer, what do they do? What level of skill set do they have? And yeah, so starting with a data engineer, his work is generally to design, build, and maintain data pipelines. So with this, I mean, is the architect that come up with ways in which data can be actually collected and the way it can be stored. So on the other hand, the data analyst his role involves to inspect, analyze, model, and transform data to meet business requirements. This should be a data scientist. So a data scientist is responsible for coming up with statistical model and developing hypotheses that can enable a company to predict the future. So on the skill set, a data engineer needs maybe Python. That is, Python is a programming language. So he needs SQL, he needs ETL knowledge, SQL, and big data knowledge. So this is the skill set that a data engineer should have. On the other hand, a data analyst should have skills in Excel, SQL, Tableau, and Power BI. A data scientist should have a skill in mathematics, statistics, Python, R, data science theorems, and so on. So I think that differentiate on the skill set needed for the three professionals. So another thing, a data engineer may be working in data operation team, But a data analyst, he or she will work with the business. So he will be responsible for giving business insights to the owners or the management in order to drive important business decisions. A data scientist, on the other hand, he will be responsible, he will be working in data science teams, maybe to coming up with those models. So that is a brief overview or the general overview or about the three professionals, that is data engineer, data analyst, and a data scientist. So that brings us to the end of our introduction. So unless there is any question regarding how the introduction has been, before we can start on Excel. Let me stop sharing my screen. Karaoke, we've not heard from you. Are you okay?
I am okay, thanks.
Okay, though you joined in late.
I'm sorry about that.
Hope haujaachwa nyuma, but there are still, I think I'll share also the recording, but the good thing you also had the PPT notes. We're just going through them and just knowing what each point entails.
It's okay, thank you.
So let me introduce you to Excel. So before we can start Excel, maybe you can have maybe 5 minutes to take some water before tuanze a break. So see you at 8:56. Uh, Welcome back. Hope you've enjoyed your break. So we are going to introduce Microsoft Excel. So Excel is one of the data analysis toolkit that you should know as a data analyst. So Excel is widely used in almost all organizations. So there's no single organization that you will walk into and find that they are not using Microsoft Excel. So Excel is really crucial. So having this skill in Excel is actually important because it will enable you work efficiently as a data analyst. So majority, I'll take my case as an example. I interact with Excel on a day-to-day basis. So there is no single day that I'm not using Excel. So, and all my analysis revolve around Excel. So, but I understand there are other softwares that are being used in data analysis, but none beats Excel. Excel has been there for a very long time, and it's still actually, despite the various innovation, various softwares coming in and others are being developed, you see, but none of those softwares has actually managed to beat Excel. So there are other softwares like R, like Python, and so on. Yeah, they are important in data analysis, but they are not as much powerful in handling daily, day-to-day task as Excel. So, and Excel is widely known by a community of users. So, I don't believe this era and age there is someone who hasn't heard about Excel. So, in a nutshell, we can say that Excel is such a powerful tool that can enable you to leverage the power of your data. So what makes Excel to be actually powerful compared to other softwares? So the beauty of Excel is that it has so many analytical toolkits in it that can enable you to actually clean data, enable you to manipulate data, and so on. And also you can customize functions in Excel. So that is what makes Excel to be that powerful, and majority of organizations prefer using Excel compared to other softwares. So in your journey of becoming a data analyst, so Excel is quite mandatory. You cannot skip it. So it's very crucial, and a data analyst who is not well conversant with Excel, I'm sure he won't survive in this data analytical industry. So you cannot do without it. So having Excel skill is a must for you to be able to do your data analytics well. So Excel comes with so many functions that can enable you to manipulate and analyze data. So it also comes with built-in features in it that you can leverage in doing maybe advanced data analytics. So some of those features that come with Excel are pivot tables. I hope you've heard about pivot tables. There are data tables, and also there are various statistical functions that come with it. So Excel can be considered as being a versatile tool that is being used in data analysis. So as you aspire to become a data analyst, you should actually build your Excel skills. So you should have strong Excel skills. This will enable you to actually prosper in this field of data. So Excel can enable you to examine and interpret data in a variety of ways. So in Excel, data can come from different sources. So these sources, you can have data coming from the websites. You can have data coming from other files, maybe text files. You might have data coming from databases such as SQL, we have Oracle, we have SQL, and so on. So you can actually import data into Excel from many sources. So what you can do in Excel, you can actually be able to do some sort of conditional formatting, come up with ranges, tables. There are text functions, we have date functions, time function, and so on. So there are so many functions in Excel that can enable you to do your data analytics well. So we shall look into these functions one by one, so that we can understand what really each function does. And at the end of it all, I'm hoping that you will have garnered the necessary Excel skills that you need in order to prosper or in order to push your data analysis career to the next level. So that is just a brief introduction on Excel. So part of what we will cover in this course. So what we intend to cover is we have Excel functions. As I have stated that Excel functions are so many in Excel. So how can we leverage these functions in doing data analysis? So we have data cleaning. So remember when we began, we say that one of the steps that is involved in data analysis is data cleaning. So we shall look at data cleaning. Which functions do we use to clean data? How can we identify maybe a data that is dirty? Maybe it contains missing information, it has got outliers or missing entries, and so on. So we shall also look at conditional formatting. So conditional formatting just involves setting some rules maybe in your data or setting your KPIs and so on. So you can conditional format your Excel data. You shall also look at sorting and filtering, how you can sort and filter data. We look into data validation with subtotals with ranges. Here you will know how to work with Excel ranges and so on. You will also learn on quick analysis add-in. So this is an add-in that is built in Excel. You just have to enable it. So how can you use it in analyzing your data? So we also need to understand the lookup functions. So I think at this point we will look at lookup functions such as VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index and match, and so on. And we will see how you can leverage these functions in analyzing your data. Also, we shall look at pivot tables. How can you leverage the power of pivot tables to analyze your data or to summarize your data? We shall look into data visualization in Excel. So here we will look into charts and graphs, tables, and so on. How can you build Excel dashboards so that you can present this information to management and so on. So we shall also see how you can work with multiple worksheets. So you may have data in Excel, but it is in multiple worksheets. So how can you work with such data? So we shall also look at formula auditing. So in Excel, mostly as a data analyst, you'll be writing formulas. So and these formulas, you actually need to know how to audit those formulas so that you can ascertain whether they are actually correct and whether it's giving the required output. So we shall look at what if analysis. So at this point we look at modeling. How can you model various scenarios? For example, you might have maybe you are predicting future sales. So in the best case scenario, what do we expect maybe to sell in the next maybe 4 months or in the next quarter? What is the worst case scenario, and so on? So all that is done by what if analysis in Excel. So we have a solve a scenario manager in Excel that can enable us to model different scenarios. So this is basically more necessary when you are doing business modeling or financial modeling. So you'll actually need to know how to use what if analysis in Excel. We also learn about Power Pivot, Power Query, Power View, and Power Map. So as I had said earlier, Excel actually comes in with a plethora of functions. So, and these functions, they come in as add-ins. So each and every day, developers of Excel usually come up with new features. So Excel is continuously being improved on, and developers are coming up with new apps or with new add-ins that can be embedded into Excel in order to enhance its power. So one of the developments or one of the add-ins that have come in Excel is Power Pivot. So Power Pivot is actually used in Excel when you are handling huge amount of data. So Excel on its own, it has its limitation. So for example, one big limitation of Excel, it cannot hold more than 1 million records of data. So with that, you can actually export this data into Power Pivot so that you can analyze it from Power Pivot. So you also have Power Query. Power Query is used for data cleaning also. So when you need to clean your data, you will need to make use of also Power Query. Power View and Power Map, these are for visualizations. So that is what we will cover in this Excel course, but it's not limited to this. If we have time, uh, we shall also cover other things in Excel. So Excel, actually you cannot master it at once. So because it is being developed almost daily, new features are coming in. So you just have to stay up to date by upskilling and by knowing each features that do come with Excel. But apart from that, there are so many functions in Excel that you can't exhaust them. So what we'll cover will just enable you to actually get you up and running with Excel so that at the end of the day you can analyze your data. But you can advance this by learning more advanced functions in Excel. So that is part of what we'll cover. So we'll begin by Excel functions. We will be following it sequentially, unless I feel maybe there is something that I need to cover first before the next maybe course content. So I think Excel function is course content number 1. So what are these Excel functions that we do use in data analysis? So there are many Excel functions in particular. So we have logical functions. So when we talk about logical functions, these are functions that are actually used to test whether a situation is true or false. So you write a formula in Excel, maybe using a certain criteria, and then that formula will evaluate whether the syntax that you've given is true or false. So that is what we imply by logical functions. So, and logical functions are actually one example of logical functions, as we will see when we'll be covering it. For example, they give true or false as the output. So we shall dig deeper into that when we will be dealing with logical functions. So we also have date and time functions. So date and time functions, these are used to extract information based on Excel dates and times. So Excel has date formats that it adopts. So we shall look into various date formats and how we can leverage that in analyzing data in different time periods. We also have text functions. So text functions are used to convert numbers to text within a spreadsheet. So we have lookup and reference functions. So lookup and reference function, they are used in cell referencing. So we shall look deeper into that when we read that topic. So apart from lookup functions, we have statistical functions. So statistical functions, they used to apply a mathematical process to a particular set of data in a worksheet or in Excel worksheet. So all these are categories of Excel functions. So I just picked the one that are relevant to data analytics. So we have other functions like for financial functions. So that is for finance professional. We have trigonometric functions, and we have also engineering functions and so on. So those are for professional in other fields, but in our case we will just deal with the one we are concerned with, that is for data analysis. So I have just given you a blueprint on what we are going to cover in Excel. So we are in topic number 1, Excel functions. So tomorrow we will pick up from Excel functions, and we will be looking at each function one by one. So tomorrow we'll begin by looking at statistical functions. So we have so many of them, but we'll just focus on the ones that are majorly used in data analysis. So from there on, we will now adopt a practical approach. So we'll now be learning by doing. So you should brace yourself for that, as now we want to make our hands dirty. So we shall start from there, statistical functions, and then we move to logical function, text functions, lookup and reference functions, and so on. So we shall be doing this practically. So I'll be sharing the data sets that we'll be using to cover all these topics. So one thing that you need to know, that as a data analyst, your work really revolves around solving business problems. So we will take a problem-solving approach when we are looking into these topics. So we'll be taking real-world scenarios and see how you can leverage these Excel functions or Excel techniques to come up with solutions. I think that is the best way that we can learn. So up to that point, I think this marks the end of my presentation today. So maybe I welcome any feedback or suggestion from your end, or if there is any question or something that you need to be clarified.
For me, Fred, maybe just to ask, in regards to the exam, there's an exam we're supposed to do at the end. Is it more of practical or
Yes.
is it gonna be question
No,
based, just like theory?
no, it's not theory. So
Mm-hmm.
what we've just covered, so I was
Mm-hmm.
just laying the basic foundation. That's it. That is
Okay.
the know-how. So you should also have the theoretical concept of what you are actually doing. So from tomorrow going forward, so we develop a practical approach, and also the exam that will be given, it will be practical. So you'll be given a certain business problem, so you'll be required to go and do it using the skills that you've learned, and also you'll have to present the findings also to us. So that's the nature of the exam. So the exam will be takeaway, so it will not be time like the normal classroom exam. So just to test your understanding of the concepts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then another suggestion maybe I'll have is do you mind sharing the notes on email instead of the WhatsApp?
Yeah, you can share your emails to me on, yeah, I think that would be more professional. Yeah. So I don't have your email, so I'll
Yeah.
really appreciate it if you share it in the group so that I pick it from there. So even
Mm.
the meeting invite, or if I have anything, I'll just be sharing via email. I think that will be fine. So I won't mind if you share with me your
Okay.
emails.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question or suggestion, Keegan?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. How is the session?
It was wonderful, and I've enjoyed the lesson of the session.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. So kindly share with me your emails on WhatsApp so that I'll be sending the course materials via email.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So that marks the end of our presentation today. So I wish you all a lovely evening. Let us meet tomorrow.
Okay. You too.
Hey, am I a bad teacher? Am I a bad teacher? Hmm? Ah, 5 minutes in mingi. About delivery.